Okay. Okay, we're live.
Oh, we are?
We
Yay.
did it.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Okay. Yes. So thank you both for being here. I'm Michelle for Casa Elm in San Miguel de Allende. I'm super excited to have Stephanie Roshida. I feel like we roll in the same circles, but also we've known each other for a few years. So I'm super excited to have you again on my channel to talk more about Exodus Summit coming up in October 2024. Welcome to Casa Elm, my channel here, and also my life, I guess, online. But I love living in Mexico. I've been here for over 6 years, and my guest house provides assistance to anyone who's interested in having a soft landing experience, not just relocation, but really and truly like connecting to the community here. The community that I've been a huge part of and I've seen it grow over the years for all of the information that's out there, including the information that people get from Exodus Summit. So if it is your first time here, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and like this video, and also check out all the information in the description box in regard to the Exodus Summit and all the other happenings that I'm a part of as well. So I'm very excited to talk some more to these two amazing women who have really helped so many Black women change their lives, right? And improve their current state of mind, their current situations. They've given them inspiration. And that's also, I think, what Casa Elm does. And so we're all doing this together to really just help people who've just had it get to a different place in another chapter, and just really and truly connect to the information and the resources that a lot of you didn't know were out there, and now you do. And you know, we're just keeping with adding so much every year and sharing our experiences in our life abroad and moving around. Stephanie, you move around probably the most, and I hand claps to that. And just the way we do it, right? And how it happens, because we have been conditioned to think in a box, and now we have options to get outside of that. So I'm excited to have you both here again. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Michelle. Yay. Yeah, we're going to have a great conversation. They didn't tell me ahead of time that it was Wind Down Wednesday.
Now, if you read your emails, you would have seen. I don't want to say nothing.
Yeah,
I didn't get it.
it is.
I didn't get it.
Well, what are you drinking, Roshida? What did you whip up?
Mezcal and piña on a rim de tajín.
Oh, okay. You got real fancy. I just have my, right. This is like my favorite bottle. It's called Isla Negra, if you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. I love Sauvignon Blanc. And I always have like a lot of those in my cabinet.
So is that from a winery that's in San Miguel or in the area?
No, actually, that's a good question. No, they're actually out of Chile. I remember looking up that before, but it's not an expensive bottle, but it actually has a very nice, refreshing taste.
Okay.
So that's kind of my go-to when I just want to be mellow. Last week I had, 2 weeks ago, I had a party and the lady requested blue martinis. So I made so much blue martini. I had a lot of leftovers, so I was sipping that throughout the week. And my son was so fascinated by the color. He's like, "Can you make a kid-friendly?"
Could you make a kid-friendly one?
I did, but
Okay.
Curacao is still, a little bit of liquor, but I just added it for the color. Make me drops. And then just regular like lemon water, and yeah. Anywho, welcome to Miss LGC. Welcome.
Yes.
And anyone else who's here, please drop a message in the chat. Hey, Roshida, what's up? ¿Qué pasa? So anyway, let's get started. I'm very excited to learn more. Every year you all have so many interesting topics that I think my favorite one was 2 years ago, right? And it was like this whole other kind of like, we don't talk about that stuff. And I know you all already know what I'm talking about, but it was just really interesting because I think, again, we really limit ourselves as women, as Black women to get the job, and we got to be this way. We have to strive after these things. And I've talked to a lot of ladies, and I know you have as well, that really are just burnt out and they're tired and all the things. So let us know a little bit about what's happening for this year. Like, what's your agenda?
So there are no risque topics this year, but this is our 5th year of Exodus Summit, and we are really excited about our theme. Every year we have a different theme, except the first year when our theme was everything, like everything we can fit in. This year is the first year that we're talking about moving abroad, either permanently or temporarily, right? So maybe you might move back for a year or so, 6 months, whatever. And we're talking about making the move quickly. So when we looked at planning, we looked at what are the things that we can bring to the table that will help a woman, maybe not every woman, but a woman move faster. And that was kind of a criteria for every talk we agreed upon. And sometimes I would forget, and Stephanie would remind me, no. Like, that's great for a woman who wants to move abroad, but it's not great for a woman who wants to move abroad quickly. Right. And so we kept focusing in on what are the ways that we can help a woman do that. And I think we got it. I think we nailed it this year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Michelle. I have a little bit of a delay. I keep trying to fix it. I don't know. I'm in Costa Rica. We want Black women who want to leave the country. We want them to leave the country, right? We don't want them to be always dreaming and wishing and hoping. We want them to get that done. We want them to, whether it's a move abroad forever, or for a few years, or for a few months. We want them to be able to experience that, because we know how amazing it's been in our lives to be out of the U.S. We know how much better life has been for us and how much better we are as people. So this year we're focused in Exodus Summit, in our online conference, we're focused on the quick exit. We're not doing that, I'm gonna move abroad in 2046, right? We're not doing that.
That was way out. That was like the Star Trek version.
This week, I heard someone say 2030, and I was like, what can we do to move that ahead a little bit? Because this was a woman who was in a situation that every facet of her life is making her unhappy, but she's like, but my plan is 2030. And I'm like,
let the plan go.
Right? Like let's see what in your plan we can tweak. And that's what we want to do for these women, is tweak a part of their plan so that they can get abroad before 2030. Maybe they can even get abroad in January of next year, maybe by February, maybe in December, who knows, right? Come to our summit in the beginning of October and then see how quickly you can make changes.
Right, I agree. And I think too, because of the limiting beliefs that we have, it's not easy. And I think we talked about this last year. I feel that sometimes we don't realize how great we are as people and women. We're strong, and you put your mind to things. And I do really truly believe the universe works with you to make them happen when you start putting, those steps forward and, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I've had quite a few guests over the years, and more recently, younger guests that have come, and they have good jobs, and they're just like, I'm out. Literally in the last 2 weeks, I had 3 women that just were like, I'm done. I resigned. I'm leaving. I'm packing my things. And it even surprised me, because they had a plan, and they were like, well, maybe next year, and they're just like, I'm done. I'm fed up. I'm out of here. So in saying that, I just really think that we're all capable of creating, the life that we want. And I really love that Exodus Summit really guides women through that process. So yeah, tell us a little bit. Okay, so I feel like we didn't introduce ourselves. We just, we got our natural people, or the people who come all the time. But okay, I'll let Roshida go first, and then I'll say hello to everyone in the chat. tell us about yourself, just in case someone hasn't been here before.
Hello, my name is Roshida Dowe. I am the co-founder, co-creator, co-producer, and co-magician behind Exodus Summit. I am a career break coach who has been living abroad for 6 years now. And I help Black women leave situations that don't serve them to go find their joy wherever it may be around the world. And I love what I do. And this is our 5th year hosting Exodus Summit. And it's our baby, and we love it, and we want you to be there.
Yes. And Stephanie.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Perry. I'm a house sitter. I'm the creator of House Sitter School, and I'm the co-founder, co-creator of Exodus Summit. I'm spending time now in San Jose, Costa Rica, but I've been a full-time traveler since 2015, since September 2015, September 21st, as a matter of fact, 2015. Coming up.
Oh, yay.
Very soon. I believe in doing as little as possible, and I love to see other Black women who do as little as possible, who take the easiest route to their peace, to their joy, to their freedom. And so that is why Exodus Summit is about helping you understand what do you really want for yourself, and then getting yourself there. I'm so glad to be here. So we know Michelle. Michelle is our friend. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be super fun.
Yes. So I had the pleasure of getting to meet you all in person shortly after I did your coaching class or coaching week, which was a whole 6 days, was it? I think it was 6 days, every day, talking to them live about how to get your next 3 clients. So if you haven't heard about their program, it was really helpful for me. I like that you were very black and white, and I think it was your first one. I think it was the first one in 2021.
The Dale, yeah, I think so. I think so.
And I just kind of went in and I was just like, this is what I have. And you all really helped hone in. And shortly after that, I remember you posted something, Stephanie, that you were in San Miguel. I was like, okay, hello, where are you? And we met up and I got to meet you all in person. So it's been really sweet ever since. And last year you came to my influencer weekend, which was super, super fun. We had, Stephanie, Roshida, we had the Yarboroughs here, and we just really enjoyed ourselves. And also Michelle from Ingenuity, she's always in the chat and checking us out. So I want to say she's our official tea sponsor still at Casa Elm. And check her out. She's right there, Mr. Ingenuity and Spice Company. So always a pleasure to connect with you all. And I know Roshida and I, we've seen each other along the way, because it's not that far from me. Not that far. Yeah, pop into San Miguel when you feel like it. Okay, I'm going to say hi to everyone. I'm really bad about that. Okay, Roshida, hola Katrina, Miss Bohemian Soul, welcome. Danica, hi April. April lives right around the corner from me. Did y'all know that?
Have you been to her house?
I have. It is so gorgeous. It is so gorgeous. We're gonna party over there on Saturday.
Like, can I get on a bus on Saturday? Go party I wasn't invited to.
I'm like, we're gonna get down. I'm not sure how to say this name. Olayinka,
that is.
Olayinka. Okay, welcome.
Hi, friend.
Hi, welcome, Amina. Of course, Michelle and Nichelle and Dee. Hi, Dee. Monica, Benita, and that's who showed up. You guys are lurking in the background. Say something.
That's right. That's right.
Don't spy on us. Say something. Anyway, tell us a little bit more, about just kind of like the speeding up the process of moving. What does that look like overall? And also let us know a little bit about your speakers.
I would like to talk for a second about why speed up the process. Is it okay if we talk about that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Whatever
because
you want to say.
We did kind of make fun of some of you already about your 2030, 2046 plans, okay? But here's why we think it's important to speed up the process, and Michelle will agree with us. I mean, it's important because you don't realize, I didn't realize what being in the United States was doing to me until I got out. And I didn't realize how different life could be until I was already living a different life. You know, we're used to the things that we're used to. And so it seems perfectly natural. For me, my biggest, like, the thing I can say, the picture that I can paint is that I walk out of stores around the world relaxed and at ease. Whereas in the United States, I walk out of stores stressed and tensed up. And that is just a small thing. It's just a small thing. I've been pepper sprayed by a security guard. Okay. In my younger days, I was pepper sprayed by a security guard. I don't play about security guards today. In the United States, I don't walk past somebody without feeling tensed the way that a lot of people feel about a police officer. I feel about the man standing at Walmart, right? And I didn't realize what that was doing to me over and over and over again, feeling that, going into that fight or flight mode, feeling that little tiny bit of panic, right? That little tiny bit of fear, that little tiny bit of what could happen here over and over and over again, just in that circumstance, just in that situation. I didn't realize what that was doing to me until one day I realized, in Mexico, in Costa Rica, in South Africa, in the Philippines, I just be walking around.
Right.
I walk out the store and I'm fine, right? And I don't feel that. My stomach, I don't get the knot in my stomach. My shoulders aren't up here.
Right.
And there is a different way that you get to move and live your life when you're not a Black woman inside of the United States. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons to speed up your exit is so that you can just feel better, so that your blood pressure can be a little bit lower, so your shoulders can be a little looser, so that there's not a big knot in your stomach every time you run into your specific triggering situation. It doesn't have to be like that. We think that that's just how it has to be, right? This is how it is. That's not how it is. The United States is not a good place for you. And that's why it's like that. And so we want to speed up your exit to another place.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In the US, as Black women, there are a lot of ways in which we are oppressed and we are seen as less than. But as a Black woman from the US, there are also a lot of privileges that you have that you don't get to exercise in America. And so I'm all about going where my privilege, is there a privilege card? Let me use that. Let me use the privilege express, please, and place it down. And not in a way that is going to hurt local communities, but in a way that I can move through my day and, to Stephanie's point, not be stressed, not have to dress in a way that I think is going to convince someone that I can afford to shop in this store, right? Like, or that I'm going to get access to this place, or that someone's going to think I belong. Not wondering if when I go jogging through this neighborhood, are people going to be like, call the police, there's a Black, right? Like, not like feeling like even if I don't fit in a place or people don't know me, they don't see me as a threat, right?
Right.
And that for me is the part that lets me relax. The part that makes me say, like, yes, for unfortunate historic reasons, the blue passport we have is an advantage. The history behind it is not great, right? But it is what it is, right? Like, and as someone who doesn't get to feel the privileges of being an American in America, let me go feel it somewhere else, right?
That's what I say. I mean, I feel that living in Mexico is the first time that I really feel like I'm going home. I'm going home to my place. I feel good here. I feel that my quality of life is so much higher. I'm not worried about, really for me, gun violence was huge in my mind and in my, just thinking about raising my kid. So when people tell me, oh, I'm afraid, like I had a webinar the other night and someone brought up kidnapping. And I mean, we all have, that live here and other places, we already know what the propaganda has been. But it's just interesting because, as what Stephanie was saying, when you leave, you realize just how conditioned you've been and how You're living in this bubble of fear, but that fear really should be directed towards where you left, not where you're going. So for me, living here has been very interesting because I've had a lot of time to shed a lot of my mental stereotypes that really and truly people have just proved me wrong and opposite. And I've learned to relax. Even this morning, I don't remember the time, I would say 6:45-ish. It's still a little dark, not dark, but it's not bright sunshine. And I was walking my dog, and it's just like the neighborhood I live in is very quiet in the mornings. No one's really out and about. And I thought, if I were in the US, I would never do this. I would be nervous about walking in certain places. And here I'm very comfortable for a lot of reasons. And it's something I've had to learn to become in this space because of the traumas of living in the United States and all of the crazy things we see in television shows and TV and on the news. And I just think that it's ironic that people are afraid to come to Mexico and they just don't get, I'm like, I love it. I love it. Even on Sunday, I went on a drive out with my son, and literally my drive outs are, let's turn down this dirt road and let's go see what's over there. And I do it often. And even when I get to towns and villages where I know they're wondering, like, what am I doing there? I'm always greeted with smiling faces. They're just kind of looking like, and I wave, they wave. They're kind of curious. And I never feel threatened in these situations. And I know I've been places in the US neighborhoods, I'm like, oh crap, like, let me step on the gas. So it's different. It's different.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because I tell people all the time, I've lived in a number of US cities, and Mexico City is the city that I feel safest in out of all of them, right? Like, before I moved here, I lived in Oakland, and no, like compared to the crime, the types of, because types of crime are different things, different cities. So like the types of crime I might have experienced in Oakland versus the types of crime I might experience here, or like the likelihood of something happening, I just feel much more comfortable here.
Yeah, same. I remember going to places where I wanted to hear the music I enjoyed listening to. So usually that was in the hood. And, walking through metal detectors to go in. That's like, when I think about that now, it's just crazy, but it was so normalized, right?
Yeah.
But you're worried about, I don't know, what?
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of the last time I went to a club in the US and I was not getting wanded, right? To go in.
Right.
Like,
wanded, metal detectors. There were guys with like,
checking your purse. And here people are just like, come on in. It's fun, right?
That's the whole
in my neighborhood, there are, like a lot of neighborhoods, it's a square, right? So there are 4 streets I can walk down to get to my apartment. And there's only one I won't walk in, no matter what time of the day, and it's because there's no lights, right? Like, we're using our common sense. I'm not walking down the street that has no light, right? But the rest of them, 2 a.m., 5 a.m., 9 a.m., 6, doesn't matter. I feel fine walking down it. A no light one, mama said no. Like, that don't feel right? Yeah. But everything else is like, it doesn't even matter if there are people around or not. I know that I'm going to be okay. The no light one, I don't trust it.
Well, that's anywhere. Like, I wouldn't go down a no light street here either.
Like, it's very much the use your common sense,
right?
And don't do anything you wouldn't do anywhere else, and you'll see that like life can be so much simpler and safer.
Absolutely. I mean, even for my son, he has a lot more freedoms here, and I have to remind myself to tell him when he's going to the United States what to think about and be careful with, because he also lives that life of just never having had your type of thing, Stephanie, or all of us have experienced where we've been in a store and following you around. I've had a few people say that they were followed here in City Market. I'm like, I wish somebody would follow me. I have a whole lot to say.
My I'll start handing them
real clear.
I'll move stop and just be like,
Que paso, like, que paso, Anyway, when he's traveling back to the US, I have to remind him because, he's living a different existence than what we grew up and what we experienced. So I have to tell him, and he's very clueless. He'll be like, well, why? For example, he had some bags. We went to Liverpool, and he like walks in the stuff we want to return, and he goes and sits down like in some quiet little spot. And I was like, no, come back out so they can see that these bags are things that we're bringing back. And he was just like, well, why? And it just hit me, because this is how I conducted myself growing up in the US. So people don't think I was stealing stuff. Yeah, it's different.
It's funny. Asia, who lives in Puerto Vallarta, has a teenage son, said the same thing, that when he goes back to the US, the people he's with in the US and she have to say like, okay, no, like this is what you do in Mexico. But you're not going to Mexico, baby. Like you're in the US. You got to watch out for these type of things. And it's so interesting. Like as an adult, having lived both lives before, like we know how to maneuver, but it's interesting thinking about children who haven't had to walk that line.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like America's got to be kind of a scary place when you get all these messages of like, okay, you can't do this. Like as a Black boy,
right, it's
unsafe for, like she was like walking around with your hoodie up, maybe not, right? Like all of those things that seem perfectly normal at home, the idea that like home in Mexico, the idea that you're not necessarily safe for you in the US, when they're completely neutral actions, right?
Right.
The act of being warm or having your hands in your pocket or something like that, or like not having to respond to the stranger who's talking to you who you don't know, right? Not feeling like you have to answer to them like that. It's weird. The idea of like a child having to acclimate to that.
Right. And to think in a way that they don't normally have to think. Yeah. And that is kind of scary because, he spends time there, not an excessive amount, but enough. So yeah, I really hope that when he gets older, he doesn't want to go there. So I treat the US like smoking. Just don't do it. Don't smoke cigarettes. Okay. Don't do drugs.
It's toxic. It's toxic for you.
It is. Just don't do it. Yeah. So tell us about your journey with Exodus. I know the first year was really, really hard putting it all together. I've heard that story several times. And, just kind of now here you are. This is your 5th year anniversary. It's amazing, how you started and where you are, the types of people or women, I should say, Black women that are coming through. I mean, I think that a lot of them clearly are liberated from what they felt should be to, I can pursue this. Like, tell us a little bit about that journey. Who wants to say?
We started Exodus Summit as a conference, right? As an online conference. But it's grown into more than that. We started it as a conference so that we could bring some speakers in and we could show women how to do the stuff that we were doing, right? How to move abroad, how to travel full time, how to take a sabbatical, right? How to take time away from work as an adult and live like a retiree at your age, right? We started it for that. And it grew into so much more. It grew into a community. It grew into events. It grew into a place where people have sisterhood and friendship. But at its core, it is a conference. It's an online event where we still bring in people. We bring in women, Black women speakers to teach us how to do something. Exodus Summit isn't about like being inspired to move abroad, or being inspired to take time off of work, or being inspired to travel the world. It's about, okay, but how do I do it? Like, I already do it. We're not here to convince anybody to do anything. It's about, if we're here to convince anybody of anything, it is that it's possible for you. So it's about what are the first steps? And then the next steps, and then the steps after that. That's what happens during Exodus Summit. People come in and learn how to actually do the thing that they thought was just a dream or just a wish, just a far off fairy tale fantasy. How do I live it? How do I start it?
So Stephanie got us off track earlier from your first question. because she wanted to talk about the why. But I'm gonna get back to like the how. And one of the things we've always focused on in Exodus Summit is we've always focused on action from year one. Like, what are the things that will help you? And so this year, let me grab my calendar. I'm gonna switch pages real quick so I can see this because I always forget. I can start off with this. This year we're really focused on, like we said, how you can move quickly. And so what we did is we got speakers to speak to topics that appear to be roadblocks to a lot of people, right? So we have people talking about how to sustain the money you need to move abroad, right? So we have Liberia Jones coming to talk about remote work. She's doing 2 sessions. One is a bonus section that's going to be very hands-on, like work along with her as she does this kind of job search thing. We have Frances Benjamin coming in, who's an HR executive, coming in to talk about asking for a sabbatical or to work remotely, asking your current employer, right? So how to navigate having that conversation with your employer, because having a job and being able to take it with you is the quickest way, right? Like getting a remote job is a way, but if you already have a job that you can take with you, that's even quicker, right? So we're really trying to find what are the quick ways to get out. Steph?
We're talking about citizenship, residency, and staying in a place legally. A lot of people think that you need a second passport or you need citizenship in another country to live in another country, and no, you do not. Some places make it really easy for you to come and stay for like reasonable amount of time, for a year or 2 years or 5 years. So we're talking about that so that people don't go the long route. The citizenship is the long game and maybe unnecessary completely.
And also, sorry to interrupt, but if you get your citizenship, sometimes it can make it difficult if you ever need to have like some kind of emergency return back, them coming to rescue you or something like that. Just so you know, yeah.
And who is the brilliant speaker who's giving that talk?
You may have heard of her. She is Roshida Dowe, who has navigated and has helped people navigate residency in Mexico. Rashida's mom I think your mom's residency happened faster than yours, right? Rashida has helped people.
Same time.
Okay. But she got the longer.
She got the permanent.
Yes. So Roshida has helped people navigate this process and has helped make it simpler and has shown people some options that were not on their minds, that they were not thinking about ahead of time. Some places do have digital nomad visas, residency visas that let you stay a little longer than the tourist visa. So Rashida's going to get you there legally. She is an attorney, but she's not your attorney. but she is going to give you information you can take to your attorney if you need to. That's right. Just second opinion.
And that's how you know we've been working together for a really long time. Let me hear me say that 70 times at least.
I'm an attorney, but not your attorney. I love it.
Okay. We also, Michelle, when people tell you they are hesitant to move abroad, out of the top 3, where is healthcare on that list of like concerns?
I would say it's up there. It's 3.
It's 3. Okay, so
I would say it's 3.
I think for me, I hear it as like number 1. That's the thing that I hear all the time.
I think it depends on the age bracket.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Wait, do you think I'm talking to younger or older people?
No, I'm just saying, like, it depends. I feel that initially when I started doing relocation tours, it's definitely top 3.
Okay.
But what I find people want to know, if they have the means and they're not looking for a job or they already have the remote work, is how much does it cost for me to get this type of house? And I feel that that is really important, but these other things are also really important. And they sometimes overlook the importance also of residency. Because I think as Americans, we assume everybody's going to want us to move in, and it's become harder in Mexico. So
hold on to the how much does it cost, because we don't get there, but I'm going to talk about healthcare real quick. we have 3 sessions about healthcare this year because healthcare is in the Exodus Summit Facebook group. Healthcare is the question that we hear the most. And so our sessions are intended to be like a kind of a comprehensive, I have heard the word and now I feel comfortable moving ahead, right? So we have a medical doctor. Dr. Michelle is going to come and talk to us about if you're planning on moving abroad, what is the conversation you need to have with your current doctor? Like, how do you transition your existing healthcare to new healthcare in a new country? We have Shar Winter from Lisbon talking to us about navigating an insurance plan overseas, like getting in healthcare using foreign insurance. And Danica from H&D Abroad is talking about how to find the medical providers that are right for you in different countries around the world. So we really feel like this is like a getting it all in one big scoop. One big sundae. It's an ice cream sundae of healthcare.
Right. And it's important, especially for people who need specialists.
Yes.
That's definitely at the top of the list. And I think that we assume we're not going to get what we need in another country. But I think for me, the biggest barrier is the communication. And so I think people need to understand that if you have health challenges, you should probably go to a city like Mexico City, Querétaro, even San Miguel, where they're kind of used to working and catering to foreigners. So you're able to communicate what the specifics are of your health challenges, whatever those are. Because for myself, there are a lot of things that I can kind of move through, and my Spanish is like, okay. But when it comes to healthcare or more technical things, I definitely need to speak to someone that I can communicate with clearly. I'm like, what are you giving me? What is that? And what I've found, especially here in Mexico, is the doctor will write something down on a prescription, but the pharmacy sells it a certain way. And sometimes you gotta really do like the proportions and things like that. Whereas in the US, we kind of get it more exact. So that is very important as well. That's a very important piece to have a discussion about.
Yeah. I remember in Mexico, a lot of the pills come like in a box, right? So it's a package of 28 or 30 or whatever. And I had to do them. Like the doctor said, take this pill 3 times a day for 15 days, and you're trying to sell me a box of 42, and that's not going to work.
Right.
I need 45. Like having that conversation with the doctor with the pharmacist who was like, just take this box and go, girl. But that adds, it's weird because it's a super easy system, right? Like as opposed to having to go to the pharmacy and make sure they take your insurance and blah, 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 and wait or get something approved. I just walked into Walmart and I was like, I need this. And they were like, okay, right?
Wow.
But it's navigating those slight differences of you need to count how many pills are in the box to make sure you're getting the right amount for what you've been prescribed, as opposed to the hardship of will my insurance company approve this medication, right?
Right.
It's different kind of hard, and it's honestly a much easier hard for me here.
Yeah, it's interesting because with Micah, when we first came here, just like with anywhere in the world, if you move somewhere else, your body has to get adjusted to those new bacterias and the whole nine. And I remember they gave us a few prescriptions and it wasn't ready. They gave me the powder and it's like a line on the bottle, add the water, shake it up, and then do. So things like this, I think it's important to be able to communicate exactly what you're supposed to do and how to do them. But knowing in places like here, like where I live, it's definitely possible. I feel that the care is amazing and the cost is it's a sin that we pay so much money in the United States for healthcare, and people suffer because they can't afford it.
When nobody else in the world does.
No one, mostly. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
healthcare is a reason to leave the country, right?
Mhm.
Healthcare is not a reason to stay where you are. It's not a reason to stay in a job that's terrible, in a country that's terrible, and maybe in a relationship that's terrible. Healthcare is a reason to go because you're going to go to a place where you're going to get care. If you go, I said this on a live the other day. I think I'm right about this. If you go to any, it doesn't even need to be a major city around the world, but any city, like if you are within reach of any city around the world, you're gonna that we want to live in a city with a certain there you're gonna find healthcare. You're gonna have access to a level of healthcare that you're not used to in the United States. You're gonna
This is
have doctors who communicate with you, right? Doctors you can make an appointment with without going through the referral process. You're going to have access to medications and drugs that you may have to fight for or sell your house for in the US. You're going to have access to them. Now, if you're like in the mountains in Jamaica, it may be a different experience. But if you're in any city in the world that's on our top 100 list, right? If you're in any city that you hear women talking about they're moving to, you're going to have access to a better level of healthcare than you're used to. It's going to really open your eyes to what the United States is and is not.
Yeah, and sometimes too, a lot of the insurance that you can get, for example, here in Mexico, you can use it globally. There are some countries that are excluded, and United States is one of them. And I know there are like 3 others, but a couple of the insurance agents that I work with here as well for my tours, yeah, they're like, it's a global coverage and it'll cover you anywhere practically in the world. If you travel, it's going to take care of you, and it's so affordable compared to the US. Yeah.
Steph, since Michelle mentioned money, can you talk to our money speakers?
Yeah, we have sessions on how to figure out like what is the number that you need to live in a place. What is the number that you need, and how do you where does that money come from? So if you're dreaming of living in Paris, you may have in your mind, you probably have come up with a bigger number for how much money you need to live decently in Paris than it actually would cost you. Roshida and I talked to Latrice, who is Paris Chic Code on Instagram. We talked to her on our YouTube channel not too long ago. And she dropped some numbers about life in France and in Paris in particular that were really surprising. Numbers about rent that were like, I want to say she said somewhere around $1,100 a month. You can live in the city center of Paris, right? So the number that you're probably thinking that you need to live in another country is probably not accurate. So we have a session. I think Adelia of Roshida is teaching us how to find out what the number is. How much would it cost to live in a particular city? And then she's doing a bonus session with us about what to do with your money to get to that number. Right, a bonus session for people with the all access pass.
But people ask that question. I'm sure you get this a lot too, Roshida, because you're in a place and you live there and you have your, cost of living expenses and things like that. But people ask all the time, how much would it cost for me to get A, B, and C? I always say it's pretty subjective because it depends on you. It depends on what are you willing to compromise, get, San Miguel, yes, is probably one of the more expensive places to live in Mexico, but there are still places here that are very affordable. You just have to be willing to maybe not be in the tourist expat neighborhoods per se, and maybe the neighborhood next to it, right? It doesn't mean it's not a nice neighborhood. I always say that the budget that you have can work. It just depends on, what are you willing to do to get to the place you want to be, and how can you translate where you were into, I want to live here and I'm going to make it my home. Like I always say, I can make a shoebox look amazing. And if I'm able to live in a place, foreign place, especially, like I've always loved the idea of living abroad. And so I always thought, well, if I could live somewhere and get a nice place and fix it up and do the whole nine and make it my home, then of course I'm going to do that. Is it going to be 2,000 rent? No, absolutely not. That's not the point, right? Because moving away is so you can kind of start shedding all these things that really sometimes bog us down in the United States. And I'm not saying it like, oh, you shouldn't have a nice space. Obviously, you can get whatever you want, what you can afford. But I also think that people shouldn't look at it as a big picture. This is the number and this is the amount. You should really look at it as, you know what? I can get more for my money, but I also can get more quality of life. And what do I really need in my world on a day-to-day basis, right? Do I want a housekeeper or do I want to pay more rent?
Mm-hmm. And to your point, I often see people in Facebook groups asking kind of the question of what is the number? What is the number? And I'm like,
there is no number.
I'm expensive. I don't know what the number is for you. If you want to, I can tell you what I can't even tell you what my number is because I no longer know. It is not my business. What I spend is not my business. But because why? I'm all about joy, not about anything else. And so figuring out how to get to your number, right? That's something that Bailey is going to help us with because there is no one number, right? What does it cost to live in San Miguel? I mean, I know they got $10,000 a month houses out there. I know they do. They do, right? So like, it could be that. And I know they got like $100 a month apartments out there somewhere.
I don't know where those are.
Not in the neighborhood anyone wants to live in.
That's where you have the dog barking on the roof and there's no gate.
Yep.
Just
ours
hanging.
out here in the city are the ones that like on the mountains that don't have windows or probably doors.
Yes.
There's probably no indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
They're there, right?
It's a range. I mean, there are places, honestly, I know a few folks who have really cute, smaller homes, smaller apartments that are very close to Central. They can walk there and they're not paying a lot. They're paying probably under $500 a month. But then I know other people who are paying, $2,000, maybe $3,000 US dollars a month. So again, to me, it depends on what you want and what you're okay with, right? People ask me too, like, what do I bring? What should I bring? I'll give you my advice on what I think you should bring, but some people don't care about where they lay their head. So you have to kind of know yourself. I always say that, know thyself, know what you're okay with, know what you can compromise, and then go from there. So I think there's something for everyone. You just need to put the legwork in.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have another money speaker.
Yeah.
Yes. Marsha Barnes, the finance bar. Marsha Barnes is coming in to help us work on our money moves as expats, right? If you're going to be in another country, what do you do with your money, right? What do you do? How do you invest? How do you save? How do you figure things out? How do you make sure that you can still live on the level that you want to live? How do you make sure your money's still working for you? So Marsha's coming in. She's the finance bar on Instagram. And we're super excited to hear from her and learn from her.
So this is, okay, real quick. This is one of the cool parts about planning a summit. Like people I have admired for years, I now get to be like colleagues with, right? Like I've seen Marsha work for a really long time and I've always been so impressed by her. Now I'm like, hi, Marsha. Hi, friend. Hi, friend. And so it's really cool to kind of have that experience, but it's also really cool because we get to introduce our audience to people that we admire, but also create a connection with people our audience might already know. Like some people in our audience are already going to know Marsha Barnes, but never have had an opportunity to kind of sit in this close proximity with her. So it's one of the really amazing things. In fact, so we have Christine Platt, Afro-minimalist, speaking today.
And what is she talking about?
She's liberation with less, I think is what we're talking. So how to live with less and be freer with less, which we all need before we leave because, lots of stuff can hold you down. But it was funny because I saw someone comment on the post we shared about her about another book she wrote, but I don't think I knew she wrote. And like, oh my God, it's so cool. She wrote blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, like it's weird. Like, her in a different way and get to have this conversation, be in conversation with her as the Afro-minimalist. So it's just, we love Black women. We love helping Black women. We love working with Black women. We love paying Black women.
Yeah.
And we get to do all the things we love in the summit, right? Like we get to connect speakers with an audience that are here to support them. And we get to provide our audience and our community with speakers that are here because they care. Like they're here because they actually want to make a difference. And it's such it's such a transformative weekend. And it's been every time we've done it that, it always shocks us. Our first time we did it, we started on Monday, and by Tuesday, at least one woman had quit her job. One day later, a woman had quit her job. She was like, nope.
This is what I need.
And every year we have women who make some changes immediately and then make some changes over the following month. And we want you always to always tell us. If there's something you can point back and say, Exodus Summit did that, tell us. But there's always that movement. We always focus on the action because inspiration is great, right? I can tell you, I live in Mexico City. I love it. It's great. Drinking mezcal. So, I'm talking a lot, whatever. But showing you how to do it, right? Not how I did it, but how you can do it is what's really important and what will make a difference. And that's what Exodus Summit is all about.
Absolutely. So if you are interested, I'm going to drop the link again because it was earlier in getting your tickets. The dates are, give us the dates, October
11th through
14, all online. Use Michelle's link. Use the link that Michelle is putting in the chat and in the description of this video. If you're going to register for Exodus Summit, use her link because that is a way of supporting her on her channel, right? Like Roshida said, we love to pay Black women. And so we give affiliate commissions to people. So use Michelle's affiliate link if you don't mind. Costs you nothing extra. And it's a way of saying thank you to Michelle for the space that she's created and the work that she's done.
Absolutely. My pleasure. There was something I was just going to add to that and it just slipped my mind. Darn it. Okay, we got the dates.
Yeah.
There was something else. Sorry, I forgot what it was.
It's all right. Can we talk about?
Ask you about your meetup. Do you have a meetup planned for next year? But go ahead, tell me what you want to talk about.
Answer the question, Roshida.
There are no meetups in the future for Exodus Summit.
Okay. Is that a joke?
That's the Roshida Dowe answer. If you would like the Stephanie Perry answer, please ignore me. I'm not here.
We're doing smaller, more intimate, personalized meetups, which means no ticket, right? Y'all be somewhere, organize a meetup there. One of us may come, one of us may not come, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
What we found, Michelle, is our community, really, they don't care about us. They want to get together with each other. They don't care if we're there or not. They really don't care if we're there.
They do care because you brought them together. But, once they get together, they're just like, hey, sisters.
If we said we were going to be there and then we didn't show up, I think they'd be like, okay. All right.
Yeah. There's always something happening somewhere. So there's always a group of women from Exodus Summit meeting up somewhere inside of our Facebook group. There's always something announced. I think I'm going to be with some women in Vietnam late February, Michelle.
Okay.
Rashida's not going to be there because she's a hater on Vietnam. She is Vietnam's biggest hater. She hates the way Vietnam
only has one hater.
He hates the way Vietnam talks.
You've been there. You didn't like it, right?
Multiple times, and I hated it every time.
Oh, no. I haven't been there, but I've been to Thailand and Cambodia. I love Thailand.
Completely different. Terrible.
I didn't love Cambodia. Really?
Cambodia. Vietnam is 0 out of 100.
Vietnam is awesome because I really miss the person that I was there. In Vietnam, I was a person who woke up in the morning, got on my little bicycle, rode to the noodle shop, ate my pho for breakfast, right? To go a couple of doors down, drink my Vietnamese coffee, which is half coffee and half sweetened condensed milk, and it's delicious, right?
We do that in Jamaica.
Yes. Ride down to the tailor, get myself, listen, can you make me some day jammers, right? Have her make me
I love that day jammers. I need one of those.
That's how they live in Vietnam, right? They're not worried about the belts. That outfit, they're not putting belts on, right?
Right.
If they want some pants, they want a long sleeve shirt. They don't even care if they're matching, right? Pajamas, they pajamas.
I will say the tailored outfits I got in Vietnam were the best thing, the best
Really?
experience from Vietnam.
Wow.
So like the traditional like long dressy thing with the pants on the bottom, hitting on everything. I would go back just for one of those, but she would have to like transport me in one of those Star Trek like tubes. Get it out.
Get your outfit and then that's it.
That's it. Come on.
I'm sure you could find someone in Mexico to replicate.
No.
Oh.
The way them Vietnamese ladies got it together in that silk, I will give that to them. But anyhow, next year we were supposed to have a meetup in the south of France, and Stephanie
looks like she doesn't know what you're talking
she knows
about.
what I'm talking about. She knows what I'm talking about.
Who said we weren't?
I am going to the south of France. I haven't figured it out yet. So there will be a Roshida Dowe meetup in the south of France. If you may not be invited, we will see. No, you're doing Vietnam, girl. Don't worry about it.
Who said we weren't going to the south of France?
I already said I am going to the south of France. Maybe while you're in Vietnam, we'll see.
You wouldn't do it. You don't want to be in the south of France in February, girl. Okay. No.
I didn't even pay attention to when your meetup was. I'm just being salty.
Just being a hater. I told you, Michelle, just a hater. Just a hater.
Yes, I am a hater.
Well, hopefully you'll do something wherever in the world that is.
We'll tell you. Hopefully you can hang out with us.
You know, I just need head up
for a long time.
Huh?
We've been trying to get you to come to meet up for a long time.
You were trying to get me to come like last year to Morocco. I mean, I have a kid. Yeah, I have a kid. It's
leave him at home. He's old enough, girl. He'd be fine.
He knows how to cook. You've said that before.
He does know how to cook.
He can get to school.
He's so fancy. He's like, I'm gonna make a wine and butter sauce for my pasta. I'm like,
so what he need you for, girl? What he need you for?
I know.
Money.
He needs my money.
Right. What's he? Come on,
he needs my money. Be like, here. Then he does like this to me, so it can come back. One day it'll pay off, right?
It will.
Yes.
It will.
This has been fun. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. And we dropped the link. Make sure you go over to Facebook page and join Exodus Summit, Black Women. And there's always so many cool things happening there. So many inspirational stories from other women, what they're doing, even just giving advice about where to be or go to in the world. I'm in Mexico, Rashida's in Mexico, Stephanie is global citizen, but there's always so much that you can find out about living abroad, and that is the goal. I think also if you decide to stay in the US, even just traveling, get your passport and get out there, see the world, do things, don't wait for people. Life is so short. I've lost a couple friends here. And I mean, people that have been here for a few years and things like that, or that have lived here their whole lives. And it just makes me realize more and more just, we're getting older, life is short, and you really should start pursuing and doing the things you really enjoy doing, whatever those things are. Don't wait.
It's don't wait, and recognize that nothing changes until you change it.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing's gonna I know people are really excited about this upcoming election, but when have you seen an election change your life significantly? Make you safer, right? Make you financially better off, significantly increase the minimum wage,
right?
Wages in general.
That's right.
Right? So yes, we can be hopeful, but also recognize that the best way for change in your life is to make it. And if a change you want is is outside of the US and you're a Black woman, you should be at Exodus Summit this year. If you know a Black woman who wants this, invite them to Exodus Summit. Recommend that they go to Exodus Summit. If you're not a Black woman, but you understand and you feel it, you should donate a ticket to a Black woman to attend Exodus
And
Summit.
I've done that.
You have. It's honestly the coolest thing.
Yeah.
We love being able to facilitate gifts from donors to sponsors, to recipients who can like really grow and get benefited from it. So yeah.
I got a ticket a few years ago I think 2 years ago for my best friend, because she's, she's a New Yorker. She loves New York. I get it. But, she really was going through all of those same stresses and anxieties. And I was just like, you don't have to move abroad, but I think this will be helpful for you mindset wise to pursue something you really enjoy and look at other options. So, and I think sometimes when we get away from that conditioning, it's scary, right? But I always say on the other side of the fair is greatness, really and truly. It's hard work. It can be hard work, especially if you're an entrepreneur. It's a lot of work. But for myself, I love what I do. And I love that I have the space to really be able to house people who go through your programs and or come here. Like, I see a lot of people here that I know. You mentioned Frances. She actually, right. She stayed here a couple months ago. She was here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just been really, really nice. We roll in somewhat of the same circles.
Frances Benjamin, I don't want to put her business in the streets too much, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I think everybody knows. She went on a sabbatical 2 years ago and ain't seen inside
an office
of a work laptop of anything. She said, "I'm taking a break," and she meant it, and I love that for her.
Yeah,
she really said, "Why go back?" And that's honestly what I think so many women miss out on because of fear. It's like, what will it look like when I go back? And most women don't. Most women are like, oh no, it's really nice here. Like, what can I do to stay out? It's so much nicer than back there.
It really is.
In the chat right now, we have quite a few women who have done something very similar, right? Who have moved abroad or who've taken a sabbatical abroad or have bopped around the world, done some nomad life stuff through Exodus Summit, through Casa Elm, right? The double dose, the awesome twosome of Exodus and Casa Elm. Yeah, it's a possible thing, right? You just don't know it yet because you're not in the right community yet. You're not in the right spaces yet. Get yourself in the place. Get your face in the place where people are doing the things that you want to do. Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, if you had asked me 3 or 4 years ago, I was here already. I was already living abroad, but how I came was very different than what I do now. And I just think, we're all capable of reinventing, recreating ourselves some way, somehow. I do believe in Mexico, there are so many things that don't exist that come from our heritage and our culture that we can bring to this space. And it doesn't mean gentrifying. It just means people are curious. They're curious about the types of food you cook and how you cook them. And the food is here. Like, I have my housekeepers and the people who help me, and I cook Jamaican food, and they're just like,
She'd be cooking oxtail and putting it on the internet. And I'm like, why would you do that when you're unless you're going to send some on the bus 4 hours away? Why are you
You just got to come back.
I got to come back. I'm going to tell you when I'm coming back, and I'm a
yeah,
put in my
you should.
request.
Let me tell you what I tried recently. I made fried dumplings with oxtails in the middle.
Oh!
They were damn good.
Okay, so if y'all don't know, like I don't eat gluten for medical reasons, health reasons. But dumplings are the one thing that, like, every time.
Jamaican dumplings are the bomb. They're the bomb.
Fried dumplings, not like the soup boiled dumplings. Fried dumplings with oxtail in the middle. Did it work?
Yeah, it worked. It worked. It worked. I actually tried it because I don't know, it just popped up on something I was looking at. Because, I talk about food and I'm all like, right now I have all these like Jamaican things popping up. And this recipe popped up, it was 60 seconds. And, they were like, and da, 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 da. And then they put ox. I was like, oh, that sounds so good. Let me try it. And I've actually done oxtail tacos. Those were delicious. Yeah. So it's like over here
My
experimenting.
mama that oxtail dumplings are a thing now, and see what she can do. Let's tell my mama.
You should. And you can put other things in there. You could do curry
mean,
chicken.
I don't really love curry.
No? Oh,
Mm-mm.
love curry. I don't like curry goat. I do like curry shrimp and chicken.
Okay, why don't you like, is it just curry goat you don't like, or all goat?
I don't like goat.
I don't like goat either. And it's rare. I think it's rare that we don't like goat. So our Jamaicans have gotten together.
Yeah, no, I don't like goat. I think I don't know. I just don't like it. I actually like curry lamb is actually really good, which it kind of falls in the same category, right? They call it mutton, but it's much more tender and just tastes better. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
We can talk all day about food.
Michelle can entertain, not just cook. Michelle if you haven't been to Casa Elm.
Yeah. What's coming up at Casa Elm?
Yeah. What's coming up?
Okay, so this weekend, relocation tour, but sold out. So that's good. We are pretty much full till mid-November.
I was about to ask you if I could come over in a week or two, but you're full.
Yeah, October I think is pretty full. Let me know the date. I mean, we may have like a couple rando dates in between.
You can fit me in.
Yeah, of course. We have our meetup. Come for that.
When's your meetup?
Our meetup is October 24th through 28th. So it's like 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So come and check it out, casaelm.com.
Stephanie will be working those days.
Mexico City and San Miguel are like, what, 4 hours apart?
Yes.
Yes.
And then, we may have like a Day of the Dead event. I think that's November the 2nd. Also, in conjunction with what you all are doing, we have our Move to Mexico conference. So after you listen to everything for October 11th through the 14th, and if you think Mexico is your spot, definitely come to check us out. It will have all the details about how to move to Mexico. Not necessarily your money and this and that. We'll have like some topics, but more so the immigration process and speakers that are Mexican who will be kind of sharing their viewpoints about life in Mexico, because, we really want to educate people on not just our viewpoint, but also the viewpoint of people that are here and have, been in Mexico, born and raised, and why they love it and what their history is and things like that. So definitely check it out.
Yeah. So Michelle, you've done such a good job of being in community, like being in, we call you, Roshida and I call you San Miguel, Michelle.
I love it.
But you've done such a good job of I've been to places where there is community there, but there are Black women there, but they're so insular, is that isolated? And not really part of the community. And so you've done such a wonderful job of being a person who lives in Mexico, not just a person who has moved abroad, but a person who lives in your town and who is involved in your town.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I have to say that I really do feel this is my home for probably ever. I love traveling. I've traveled a lot, but I absolutely love coming here. It's the first time that I've lived somewhere where I enjoy going home. I feel like my life is kind of like a vacation, because we have, and I say we collectively, the people who live here, also yourself, Roshida, we have access to a better quality existence, getting the help we need, and it's affordable, not being afraid to ask for the help and relinquishing things, and I was just having a conversation with someone recently about when I first moved here, how I was like, oh, they don't have to help me with that, and they don't have to help me with this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And my Mexican friends we're like, why are you doing that? You know, and I had to question myself as well. I had to ask, why are you not asking for the help you need? And fast forward to now, you know, I work with someone online who's Mexican, and I do it because he does a great job. The lady who works here at my house with me full time is amazing. I mean, she is really, I feel like a part of my family, you know. Yeah, I always tell her, I'm like, you're like my right hand, left hand, you know. And then some extra women who come in and help with events and things like that. And they're just, you know, definitely, I always just encourage people to learn the language so you can really like get to know people better and their nature. A couple of months ago, I'll ramble on, but in August, Jessie Felice came and she brought a group for a Spanish immersion experience. And one of the things we did was we went out to the campo. We went to the lady who works for me, her house and her family, and they showed us how to make tortillas from scratch. And I mean, it was super authentic. We were like in the back, they were cooking on a comal, and they were showing us how to grate the corn, you know, the white corn on the stone. And I mean, it was so amazing to be there. And they all enjoyed themselves, and they cooked all these like different things. They were showing us how to make like chicken tinga and mole and all the things. So it was really, really beautiful to be able to bring people outside of, you know, Central. We all love Central, but it was really beautiful to kind of go out to the campo and live, see what the rancheros lifestyle is. I always tell Sandra, I'm like, you're like my ranch girl. There's nothing she can't do or fix. Nothing. She has put fences up and trimmed trees, and she's like this big. She's so cute. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, it's so nice to see you enjoying, like living and enjoying this life. It's so nice to watch.
Absolutely, I love it.
I think what a lot of us miss is that there's a place that will make you feel like that somewhere in this world. It may not be San Miguel, it may not be Mexico City, but there's a place in this world where you will feel like I am home.
Absolutely.
I'm amongst the people that like make me feel home, but my life feels easy. There's a place where your life can feel super easy. There are multiple places around the world where your life feels super easy, where it can feel full, where you can feel like you have community. It's funny. My mom has a much more vibrant social life in Merida than she did when she lived in Florida, where she lives around a bunch of Jamaicans and a bunch of her cousins. And she's doing much more now than she was doing when she lived, 2 miles from her closest cousin. And some of that is the people who are drawn to live where you're drawn to live probably have a lot in common with you and will feel authentically like family, authentically like friends. Absolutely. In a way that like even blood can't connect you. And so, yeah, it a lot of people talk about like, oh, maybe I won't know anybody or I'll be lonely. And it's like, what if it all went right? And what if you met your people? There's a place in the world where you met your people. And I will say that in traveling around the world, I have felt like that in multiple places. I felt like that in Chiang Mai, Thailand. I could easily live there.
Yeah, I love
there. We're like, we family, right? We're family. It's just what it is. We do like they did Sunday dinner every week. There was nowhere I lived in the U.S. where I had people coming together every week for Sunday dinner.
Yeah, even your family didn't come around that much, right?
I knew that every Sunday, if I was up for it, I could go out and meet a bunch of people who would be happy to see me and sit down and break bread with me. And not like, are you available? Oh, no. Like, no. Like every Sunday, there were people who were like, it's Sunday dinner. We're here. Like, this is it, right? There's a place for you on this planet.
Yes.
That will make you feel like that. And if it's not where you are right now, you should search for it. I really, truly believe you should try to figure out where it is. Oh, wait, plug. If you're not sure where it might be, Exodus Summit has a quiz that might help you.
Where do you find the quiz?
at exodussummit.com/quiz.
Okay, I'm going to type it in here.
exodussummit.com/quiz. And it is where you go to figure out what city might be right for you. Now, if you get a city answer and you're like, that doesn't feel right, I want you to think about the questions you answered and the way you answered the questions and see if there are other cities that might work for you.
Yeah.
Right? So like if you get Dakar as an answer and you're like, I don't want to move to Senegal. Maybe there are other beach cities in Africa that would be more like it for you. Like maybe look at Kenya, maybe look at South Africa. Like, you know what I mean? Like think about if this city isn't perfect, what is it about this city that made it kind of like a close fitting? Because there are 195 countries in the world and millions of cities, and we can't include them all, right? Like we can't include them all, but we can give you some good directions as to places that might be a good starting point for you to start looking at.
Yes. And also, I want to say this, if you know your personality type and who you are, and you find a place you love, create a community of your own, preach about it. You're in community here to be able to share a new space, a new place. I mean, that's what we're all doing, right? We're all sharing the things that we're experiencing, the things we're creating, the life that we're living because of these other examples and inspirations and our own experiences. I really do believe build it and they will come. I think there's lots of room to share our ideas and the things that we're doing, support each other and continue collaborating, especially as Black women, because we need it. I know you all encounter a lot of people who are just tired, a lot of women, Black women who are tired. And I do too. I see it. I feel that I get a lot of, they just got here and they're like, it's like, yeah. And they're here and this house is kind of like, all right, it's going to be okay. You'll be all right. Go ahead and sit on that couch in that balcony and just stare outside, and people tell me all the time that, I just decompress. I didn't expect to experience this. So the point is that there are plenty of places that you can create this. If Mexico's not for you or somewhere else, just go somewhere and figure out where that could be, right? There are a lot of amazing, beautiful places around the world. And build that community. We will show up and support, right?
Yes. I want to say that Stephanie and I came up with Exodus Summit 2023 on your balcony, staring out into the backyard.
That's right. Drinking tea
outside, coming up with I
remember
strategy for it. So thank you. It's a very calming space. Don't be working there. We were on a special assignment. We're never together. We have to be together that weekend. But when you go there, put the work down.
Relax, read, journal.
But it's such a beautiful place to be and to be in community with other people.
Thank you. Yes, I love it here. I love that I get to live here.
I bet.
I live downstairs, but I come upstairs. I'm like, oh. Yeah, my son will be like, can we sleep upstairs? Because no one's here. I'm like, You don't live up here.
Oh.
You live downstairs.
Little downstairs boy.
I was like, I don't want you messing up the beds. When I say that, just mean she made it all pretty, and then here we go. I'm like, every blue moon, if I have a gap of, we might come up, but I'm saying it from a sense of I really love the fact that I'm physically here as well. Because in the beginning, I was living elsewhere just based on my life circumstances, and moving here over a year ago now, it's been really beautiful because I've gotten to really bond more with my guests and be more connected to them. And I've had so many repeat guests in just this year. So it's been really lovely. People who've come for either vacation, sabbatical. Someone made a comment, I think it was Sabrina, not to call her out, SDC. She said she was here for 2 months. April has been here. Pamela. Hi, Pamela. She did the Spanish immersion. So it's just been really lovely. And I'm grateful to see the people making the journey and be a part of that. We talk so freaking much, wine, drinking, coffee, tea, just hanging out in the living room or hanging out in here. It's really beautiful. So I'm very grateful for the work that I do, because I used to be in corporate a long time ago and I hated it. And this is just so much more my speed. Yeah, I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have that if you hadn't tried living in Mexico, would you?
Nope.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have had it if I just stayed on the side of fear. I'm not
Right.
that person. I'm always willing to blow. I was going to curse. I'm not going to curse. I was always willing to blow some stuff up
Mhm.
and start all over, and this was one of those situations where it was interesting because it felt real scary. And I said, I'm just going to jump in because I feel that there's a need. I see the need online, and I'll have faith in the process.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You don't know. You have no idea what's around the corner for you, right? We have no idea. We know we can see the past and we can, see how we got to where we are, but we're really bad at predicting the future. And we're really bad at knowing what's going to happen. We may predict the negatives, but
Yeah.
we're really bad at predicting the good stuff that's to come in our lives. So
Yeah.
instead of trying to predict what's going to happen if you do something, do it. And let it surprise you. Let things work for you. Let things unfold for you. Let people and forces conspire in your favor.
Your favor.
Oh, for sure. And don't be afraid to ask for things. And if it doesn't align and it doesn't connect and it doesn't go that way, it's okay, because it wasn't meant for you to have it that way, right? And we have to be okay with that. We have to really listen to our intuition. We really need to tap into the things that are right here, right? What we feel here. When you feel it, whether it's scary or not, evaluate, take a moment, step back and think about it, and then move forward. Yeah.
And fear is just a lot of times like, I don't know that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not that thing is bad or that I can't handle it. It's just, I don't know it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more you can get in community with people who do know it, the more you can experience it kind of tangentially or vicariously through someone else. It's just the fear becomes less, right? And we do things we're scared of every day. You know how many meetings I was scared to go into? Like, my God, what's this going to be today? Right? And for why? It wasn't bringing joy. Ew.
I was just annoyed. I'd be like, listen to these idiots.
What's it going to be? My God.
I literally would be acting like I was making notes and I was writing all the stuff I had to do at lunchtime.
Yeah.
I couldn't take it anymore.
You might as well walk through fear to do something that might change your life in a positive way, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I see people here that have been here for forever, and I just find it interesting because, they'll say, oh, I'm an artist and I do da da da.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at art's subjective, and I'll be like, you actually made money off of that? So the point is not to criticize. It's like, if you have an idea, go for it, because there is someone who's going to need your idea. They're going to embrace it. You got to work to market it and get it out there, but it's going to, someone's there. And I can say in this town in particular, it's so artsy. It just feels like, you have a very wide range of interest. And that's why I think it's always a cool thing, even Mexico City and other cities, where you can go there, you can reinvent yourself, you can get your own little boutique, you could bake, you could do hair, you could be someone who's designing house. Like, I have a client and she asked me, she loved the way I did Casa Elm. And she's like, Michelle, I know this is crazy, but I don't know anything about design. Would you help me create a catopia in my house? And I was like, sure, let me go on Pinterest. And that's what we did this week, 2 days of creating this whole catopia in her house. And it was fun. It's like all the little things. And, we ordered all these things. And I went and had the guys that, had to install everything. And I was there making sure they did everything correctly. My point simply is we all have some kind of talent and a way to make or earn, and I say it in the sense of something you enjoy. I love decorating. I love designing. This was very different, but it was still creating and designing and creating balance in her living space for her favorite fur creatures. They're so
That's
cute.
so sweet.
Yeah.
So I cannot picture corporate Michelle, right? So I've known you for years now, and I cannot picture corporate you, right? Because you are Miss, as far as I'm concerned, you are Miss Hospitality, right? And you're Miss San Miguel.
Thank you.
And that is what it means to reinvent yourself, right?
Mhm.
That's what it means to take agency over your life and live the life you want. Be the person that you want to be. You don't have to stay in that box. Because when you said meetings, and I was like, oh, Michelle used to go to meetings.
It was a long time ago. I'll tell you this. I quit my corporate job in 2002. So it's been a long time. And I worked in corporate for about 15 years. I started in 1986. That's when I graduated high school. And I went to school at night. And I had a full-time job. My first full-time job was with Travelers Insurance Company. I worked there for 5 years while I went to school at night. So I have corporate experience, but I know I never belonged in corporate. I always enjoyed design and house and just creative things and being free. And I have a gazillion ideas. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to try things. And this has been probably the one thing that was the most challenging, the most scary, but I did have entrepreneurial experience from living in Florida, but it was completely unrelated to what I do now. So my words are to say, I've tried several things and they've all worked for me. I had to work at them, but they've all worked for me because I believed in them and I worked at it. So, I hope that encourages someone that your skill set or multiple skill sets and your talent, your voice, your experiences, because the experiences I had in corporate certainly help me now, right? Because I was like a PR manager. It helps me now. But I was happy to leave that. I was very happy to leave that life and do everything in reverse, because after that, I started working in a bar. I was like, I just want to hear music. I want to be free. I don't want to be committed to anyone. I did that for 5 years and I loved it. And that was the job that taught me about quality of life because I only had to go to work 2 days a week. I made a whole lot of money and I was able to travel. And I would just go away for like a month and come back and I still had my job because they weren't paying me to be gone. And so it really taught me to not worry about that steady, exact paycheck, that steady, exact income. And, here's what I make on average, and here's what I want to do. And here are the things I enjoy doing with my life and my time. And I just took charge of that, and here I am in Mexico. Loving it.
That required a bit of faith. And I would say that is probably the bridge between people who don't move and the people who have moved, is that there's some faith that it's going to work out okay, that the worst thing that could happen may not happen. And even if it does happen, I'll still be alive. I'll still survive it, right? Faith that it'll work out okay is such a difference maker in our lives.
Yeah.
But we're often not told, we're not trained to think about the good things or faith, or it'll be okay.
I got the Rocky song playing in the back of my head. Yeah, like constant.
You're ready to punch it.
I am. My brain is constantly like, oh, we're going to do this. You got this, And, I'm not someone who goes to church every Sunday, but, I do believe in a greater existence of being or whatever. And I believe that having that kind of, routine of, okay, thank you every time I get a sale. Thank you so much. Every time someone books, thank you so much for that. Thank you for the connection. Thank you for whatever it is. I stop to say, thank you for that. And thank you to the people who really have faith in getting on a plane and coming to Mexico. Yeah, you see me here, but you don't really know me, right? I've had people who panicked because I didn't respond fast enough. And they were like, oh, well, I was just pretty much like, okay, it's just it's just a place. And I said, no, I'm here, like, it's just interesting a bit like, oh, I just had faith. I saw you and I just, they were like, I wasn't sure, were you legit? And yes, I'm legit. I would rather give you your money back if you thought that this wasn't for real somehow. But yeah, it's one of those things where as an owner of something, a space, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. And I have my own life and I have my child. But in saying all of that, I wouldn't change a thing, because I feel that I'm learned. I had grit, but I really have grit now. And also my son is learning these things, I'm teaching him ownership of things, like this is your stuff, right? And this is what we get to do. And this is why our time is more valuable because of A, B, and C. And here are the things. So I know this isn't for everyone, but I also want to encourage people not to be afraid to pursue something that they are very passionate about, whatever that is, whether you want to write a book, you want to make a movie, or multiple things, like go for it. Like life is so freaking short. When I think about that and as I get older, it scares me because I'm always like, I feel like I'm literally battling the clock in time, and I enjoy this, but I also think like, man, what am I going to do in 10 years and 15 years? And I see people that are coming here who are older than me and they're just taking charge. And so I encourage them. I, admire all of you for just doing the things you want to do. Just do it. I know that's easier said than done. But it's definitely something that you can take advantage of with Exodus and all the things that are at your fingertips to really help you get there. Yeah.
That's right. And Michelle said, okay, if all else fails, get you a theme song. Okay. If all else fails, you need a little support. Get you a theme song. Get the Rocky song on your phone. Use that to help propel you a little bit further.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, anything you want to add, ladies? Anyone have questions before we?
I'm going to add this unrelated to anything we've talked about. Something just dawned on. I've been told before in meeting someone that someone who knows me from the internet, like, oh, I'm surprised that you're the same person in person that you are online. And talking to you right now, Michelle, really, that came up for me because Michelle, like, I want you guys to stay at Casa Elm because this Michelle that you see online is the Michelle. Like, there's no splicing it. It is the Michelle you see online is the Michelle who will host you at Casa Elm. It's like this. She's real. There's no change. There's no switching it up. She is, and it's such a good experience there. I saw Cece say she's been there for 2 months, and woo! If she's still a fan, it's a good experience.
Yes.
Was there for 2 months?
She was here for 2 months. I've had several people here for 2-3 months.
Michelle is such a great hostess and such a good person to spend time with and to build community within her community. That y'all got to do it.
I love the community
here. After this for my San Miguel days and see if I can.
Yeah, please do. Please check in because I think we'll have some space. I think the next month and a half are probably full, but I think November. Okay. Yeah. And also, if anyone wants to know, we're doing a sabbatical month in December and January because that really worked this year. And I don't know what it was that was so attractive about sabbatical, because I think everyone's talking about sabbaticals, but in the sabbatical, you get either 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and we do cool activities. Like you come, we do a dinner, we do La Gruta, if you want to do a Temescal, just like the things that allow you to unwind and relax. And we have yoga. So it's just one of those times where you can just, relax, break away from all the hectic things in your life and relax. And check it out on Casa Elm events page, and you can see what the dates are. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Sounds
beautiful.
amazing. We've been to a gruta with you, and it was a good experience. Now I'm like,
Love
this
the
is
gruta.
I haven't done that yet.
You haven't done the Temescal? Okay, so when you come, we have to do that. That's a very cleansing experience to do.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Yeah. And it's very, very authentic Mexican. It
Mm.
is not like going to a spa in Rosewood. It is true, authentic Mexican experience. It is with a woman and her father, and she does like a whole ceremony, cleansing ceremony with fresh rosemary and peruli, which is from a tree around here, and you cleanse your energy space, and then you go into the Temescal, and it's really hot, and you detox and you drink teas and all the things. It's so amazing, and it ends with a massage. So
It's funny that you mentioned the spa because the only time I've even stepped into the same space as Temescal was in a hotel here in Mexico City. I think it was like the W, and I was like,
no,
no, like
no.
thank you for showing this to me, but no.
No. This is definitely it's interesting because it's not fancy. It's very simple, but it's just a space where you go, and it's like a little oasis. But it's in a Mexican neighborhood, so there's like no visual frills, but the experience is super authentic. And I've done it probably maybe 10 times with the same. I've never done it with anyone else, and I've seen them around, and I would do it somewhere else, but I like theirs. I like the way it's set up. Usually it's 6 or less people, maybe 5 people is better. And they really like guide you through the process, like even going into the Temescal, they explain you're sharing this energy space with people in that same space. So you cleanse everything and you go in backwards so you can leave all your stuff outside. So it's a really, really cool experience. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I see you, Francis.
Francis.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to
That's
Temescal
beautiful. Yeah.
and the winery and the gruta. Yes.
Come on
All of it.
over.
Like
Yeah.
San Miguel is such a hotbed of like cool stuff, right?
Yes.
So many
Yes.
things to do.
So many things. I mean,
Yes.
Mexico City is off the chain,
But
but
San
San
Miguel.
Miguel is like,
Mhm.
it's like a little chunk of
Yes.
Mexico
I need to
City.
get back. It's been a while. I haven't been there at all this year, so I need to get back.
Oh, really? Yeah, you have to come back. You too, Stephanie.
No, she going to Vietnam. She's fine. She's fine. Center.
Don't act like that. I'm invited.
That's
I'll be
right.
there. I'll be there. When Roshida comes, I'll crash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to come in November
Okay.
if you're able to. December, I'm going on a cruise. I'm going to Jam Rock.
Ooh.
Can't wait. Mm.
Ooh,
I need to hear some Black music. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
nice. Is this a solo cruise?
I'm going with my best friend and her sister. Yeah.
Oh, good. Girls trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, girls trip. Yeah, I used to hang out with them a lot more because we all lived in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So I really miss them.
That'll be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be cool. But I will be here through then. So hopefully we get to connect before.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be there before then. I'll tell you. I know the dates. I'll tell you.
Okay, text me. Text me, friend.
I will text you. But not
You
that other
too.
one. Not that other one. She don't.
You too,
Michelle
Stephanie.
will invite me anyway. Michelle will invite me. She is Miss Hospitality. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
She will invite
So
me.
she's hospitality and I'm hater. That's what I've heard from you today. That's what I've
you
heard.
wanted to hear. That's what you wanted to
Those
hear.
are the words she has said those words. Not
Surprisingly
together.
Yeah.
Surprisingly accurate. Okay. All right. Thank you, Michelle, for this lovely evening.
You're welcome. Thank you, ladies, for being here again. Thank you all for being here. Don't forget to hit the like. I see that we had 67 people looking. We should have at least 67 likes. Por favor. Por favor. If you like what I'm saying, what we're talking about, please. I appreciate it. And also, let me drop the link one more time.
Yes,
And
Michelle's link. We'll give a little change to Michelle. No extra dollars from you because we like money circulating Black women circulating money does
Yes.
is the most expansive dollar you can ever see is the dollar in a Black woman's pocket. We're gonna pay another Black woman who's gonna pay another Black woman who's gonna pay another Black woman who's gonna feed a Black child, right? Like every time.
Yes, especially my hungry kid.
Yes.
He has butter wine taste.
Yeah,
So,
he
you
does.
know,
Yes,
he
and
$10.
kid-friendly blue martinis.
Martini.
You know,
They're so
Right?
fancy. I'm like,
like, what about that blue Kool-Aid? Would that work?
Could he
I
possibly
know,
be,
right? I'm sorry. What'd you say, Stephanie?
could he possibly be a Taurus?
No, he's a Pisces.
Okay.
Oh, that was shade if you didn't know.
What was it? What was it?
I
That's
didn't
very
know.
Taurus activity. You're not the only Taurus in the world, Miss Hater. You're hating on me. Hating on me right now.
Uh-oh, girl fight.
Ask me questions. Michelle's link is here for Exodus Summit. You should already be subscribed to Michelle's YouTube channel, but if you're not, hit the subscribe button. You're going to learn from her about this beautiful place, San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. You're going to learn about life on your terms, like living the life that you want to live. And you're going to learn some interesting, like, Mexico stuff. She interviews people from around the area as well as people from all over the world. So you should already be subscribed to this channel.
You should.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Yes, and I'm physically here. So when you go through the whole Exodus process, I'm physically here to receive you in a space that will truly help you figure out, you know, is San Miguel good for you? Mexico as well. All right, my ladies.
Thank you for having
Let
us.
me know. Absolutely. Thank you. And we will talk to you all soon. Hang tight.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
No, don't act like that.